G'day, I'm Shane from Pembroke Construction, and this is Nhan Nguyen from Advanced Property Strategies.
G'day.
So today we're going to be talking about a project out at Richlands that we worked on together. Pembroke was the civil contractor for stage 2 and assisted with stage 1. And so I thought we'd talk about why Richlands was a good area to develop in. What were your thoughts, yeah?
Yeah, look, thanks for having me firstly, Shane.
Yeah.
Look, I actually grew up on the west side of Brisbane. I think you've got Springfield out towards Ipswich there, and I grew up on that side of town. And I've always been trained. I think a lot of my mentors have looked at affordability is a huge thing, and it's very much prevalent now. And Richlands is an area that is on the fringe of Brisbane City Council. I know there's people developing obviously in Ipswich and Logan, things like that, but Brisbane is very much a big demand area.
Yes.
I grew up in Ipswich and it is very much affordable. However, the demand for people to live in Brisbane as a brand is a big thing. And Richlands, you got Doolandella, Pollara, those kind of areas that are on the fringe of Brisbane City Council, make it a lot more affordable for people. And so I believe in the area, and I grew up in that area. Actually, that road itself, Freeman Road, which the project is on. I actually used to catch the bus, and my parents and grandparents, my parents live there now on Freeman Road on the other end. This project, I'd say, was probably the most difficult I've ever dealt with, right? It's taken me 3.5 years to get to this point. And I'm not afraid to admit that. But there was so many consultants and so many variations. There was the hydraulic, there was the arborist, there was the ecology, and all the pre-start meetings. There was like half a dozen pre-start meetings.
I know, it was crazy, right?
So, your experience and understand this person does that, this is what we need to produce as an outcome for that. And then there was neighbours, the other neighbour who was problematic.
A lovely old lady, but also didn't want the development to happen, So it's just a matter of chatting to people and try to get them on side so that we can get our outcomes. So,
Look, I think you did a great job there, because obviously she had a son who could be a bit aggressive at times in his language, especially not physical, in his language, and they put in a fake survey peg as a red herring as well, and that was pretty problematic. And just because you're experienced and you were detached from it, because me being so close, and I'm also a professional speaker, so sometimes I open my mouth and I say stuff which I shouldn't say, because that's my profession. But my point is that you did it in a very professional way, and you appeased the neighbour. We were able to get a really good outcome with the common fencing, which was our challenges, retaining walls, and I think it's added heaps of value to the project, and that's why I took you on as stage 2. And you did a great job. As I said, there was some challenges like the excess cut and fill that we had to deal with.
Yeah, some poor quality soils. I mean, I remember the QU approval that sort of came through and then was on hold. The Stormwater Design Council decided to change the stormwater design, when they'd already approved it, and then they sort of kept taking extra bites at the cherry. I mean, obviously everyone wants everything to be done 100% correctly, but sometimes you have to sort of deal with these stakeholders to make sure that you get the best outcome.
That's right. And there's a couple of other things. I think with stage 1 in the bio basin, we got away with certain kind of benchmarks, and at stage 2, because they'd realised in stage 1 they'd missed out on ticking a box, that they wanted to tick that box. So
that's right.
And then also I think Telstra wanted the footpath regraded.
Yes, they wanted to regrade it to move the pits like 1.5 meters, but suddenly you need a completely different approval. Look, I mean, long story short with these challenges is every project has challenges. The larger projects have more challenges. It's how you meet those challenges and being proactive and trying to deal with everyone in a proactive and friendly way, I think gets you to the end the quickest.
Sure. There's definitely challenges there. The waterway corridor, obviously we had heaps of retaining walls, which was an extra expense as well.
Look, I mean, yes, the retaining walls create an extra expense, but I think, and as you also know, having flat blocks is much more saleable in the end. So, and it seems like Brisbane is a very hilly place. Every second project has got a bunch of retaining walls in it. Everyone wants to move the dirt from here to there, and we're building retaining walls. Your project had, I think, 4 different kinds of retaining walls. We had boulder walls, we had concrete sleeper retaining walls, we had with steel posts, and we had concrete sleeper retaining walls with concrete posts, and then we had a block wall, each requiring separate certification from a consulting engineer and separate designs. It's crazy, but that's sometimes what you have to do in order to get a project over the line.
Yeah, that's right. And look, that was a proactive choice in terms of those level blocks. Like if we hadn't, then some of them would have had a 2 metre fall from front to back, being only 30 metres wide or 30 metres long, you know. So it was a proactive choice, and sometimes, like I said, you need to have those big margins in there to absorb those to still make it worthwhile. Otherwise, you do this project is an $8 million project, and if you don't make your 15-20% margin, if you make it 5%, that's too skinny and too risky. You know, the bank's not going to fund it, and you're not going to get the investors' capital in it, and you know, making $300 to $400 on an $8 million project, that's too risky. My suggestion is become an expert on a certain niche, so that you're good at it, you understand where the power comes in. It's in the telecommunications, NBN, the water, sewage, stormwater. And once you understand those principles, it allows you to be more confident in growing organically. So going from, if you're not doing a project and you've got no experience and you do a 1 into 10, that can be hugely problematic. Because you just don't know what you're doing. Yeah,
it's almost like, if you do a 2-lot subdivision, you've got a biscuit. And you can deal with a biscuit because, it's just a biscuit. But suddenly you've got a 10-lot subdivision and you're dealing with, steak dinner.
That's right.
And if you know how to attack it, you're right. But anyway, well, thank you very much for coming in and talking to us today. And I think this was a really great project. It's going to be a great place for people to live. And you can see on stage 1, all these houses are popping up already.
Oh yeah, and then monster houses too. I think that's the other thing. When we do an occupier, really enjoy it because the houses are big, substantial, and that's good for the environment. I.e., what I mean by that is the neighbours, the values, really, really well contained. It's not investor stock where they're going to neglect or just throw in tenants in there. So it's a good balance. The more owner occupiers, the more loved the environment and the community will be, and therefore the values will be retained for the owners for generations to come.
And that's why we call it the Heights.
Yeah, that's right, the Heights at Richlands. So no, I'm excited for stage 2, that once we get titles through, that people can build their dream home. If not their dream home, their first or second home there, to be able to enjoy the environment. Because before there was just one house, and now there'll be 30. So that's multiplication and increasing the generosity and lifestyle of people in the area.
And with the cul-de-sac, it'll be a good place for kids to play as well.
Yeah, it'll be quiet. That's it. Maybe they'll swim in the creek. Maybe they won't. We'll see. Go fishing.
No worries. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for your time, mate. Good night.